Hello, guys. So, not only is Apollon showing his plague side in the world today, but Dionysus will show his resurrection power. It seems throughout history that Apollo and Dionysus are always intertwined and connected, that one affects the other. So, what got me thinking about it is looking at the world today, that because of what is going on when it comes to the whole um, pandemic, that one thing that's being affected is the entertainment world, that the theater, the actors, that all the theaters are shut down. There are no plays being performed really in the world right now. So, an aspect of Dionysus is really kind of being held back and not being able to show itself publicly the way that it used to this time last year. And again, Apollo and Dionysus always seem to be together and affect one another. That even back in Delphi, that originally Dionysus or Dionysus was the patron god of the city. He became Apollo. And now that there is a plague, quote unquote, that is actually affecting the world, it's affecting the entertainment world where an aspect of Dionysus, that is the theater, is not really able to be celebrated the way it used to. And so, in a way, it's dead. So, but what's really interesting is that Dionysus has a connection to death and resurrection as part of his story. And I think that we can see Dionysus in Apollo and what's happening in the world right now. Again, that Apollo would bring plagues upon the land, and Dionysus would have a story where he would be growing up, born, grow and live, die, and then be resurrected again. And we can see that for sure in the world. So, for those that don't know the Dionysus resurrection stories, I'll read them to you real fast, or give you read the first one, and then I'll tell you the second that everyone knows. But this is taken from the book Dionysus Exciter to Frenzy, and this is a story of his resurrection, of his first death and resurrection. So it talks about Zagreus, which was a name given to Dionysus. So when I say Zagreus, that's Dionysus. But this was his first resurrection. It says, "But the wife of Zeus, the goddess Hera, grew angry that her husband had betrayed her by sharing Persephone's bed. And despite them both, she sent the Titans, elder gods who oppose the Olympian gods, to murder the child. This would be the first time of many times that Hera made to destroy Dionysus. The Titans drew near as the child Zagreus sat upon his throne, watching his court dancers weave and spin before him, and unaware of the dangers that closed in. Yet still, Dionysus was protected by the lightning bolts which Zeus had given him. And somehow the Titans had to separate the boy from his weapons. And so they enticed the child with toys, spinning tops, dolls, and balls. Excited by the new playthings placed before him, Zagreus left his throne and put down his lightning bolts. As he played with his new toys, the Titans offered the boy another toy, a hand mirror. Zagreus had never seen his reflection before, and whilst he was distracted admiring his face in the mirror, the Titans attacked. First they struck him with knives. The boy fought well for his life, using his shape-shifting abilities to assume many forms such as that of a snarling lion, a wild horse, a goat kid, a deformed baby, a serpent, a tiger, and lastly a horned bull. But the frustrated Hera, who had been watching him from afar, let out a staggered roar, and the bull dropped to the ground, stunned. It was now that the Titans set upon him, striking him with their infernal knives, and they tore him apart. Once he was dismembered, they first boiled the parts of his body in the cauldron upon a tripod, then placed the flesh on spits and cooked him over fire and ate him up. Zeus punished the Titans by blasting them with lightning bolts and turning them to ash. According to this legend, this ash would be used to be made to make the human race, which is another version of the creation story. But Zeus also punished Gaia, the mother of the Titans, by raining down all hellfire upon the earth. In all directions the earth was aflame, and the lands burned in the fires of Zeus. Even the sea boiled with his heat. But then, seeing Gaia's scorched body, Zeus began to feel pity on her and put her out of the fires by flooding the earth. The end of the little boy's existence was the beginning of a new life for Dionysus, because Zeus had managed to salvage the heart of his dead son, which he then ate, taking the spirit of Dionysus back into himself. He then impregnated Semele, who would become another mother of Bromius, which is another name for Dionysus. Dionysus the second born. Then Zeus gave the remaining parts of his son that had not been eaten to Apollo, there he is, to scatter upon the earth. Some say that his phallus was recovered by the gods, who placed it in a cave on the island and instructed the islanders to begin the rites in his honor. And that's why the phallus is a symbol of Dionysus. But the second resurrection story is that after that, what we mentioned, Zeus gets Semele, a human, pregnant, and she becomes pregnant with Dionysus. And Hera gets jealous again and tricks Semele into asking Zeus to show Zeus if he would show himself in his true form, which mortals can't see. And he agrees, and when he shows himself in his true form, it kills her. And presumably the womb, because she's pregnant with Dionysus, it engulfs her in like flame, because his presence is so strong that she just completely bursts into flames. But Zeus saves the baby and ties and sews the baby fetus of Dionysus into his thigh. And eventually Zeus gives birth to Dionysus through his thigh, which is the second or third resurrection of Dionysus, that his mother and himself died because it got consumed by seeing the presence of Zeus, and then had to be birthed through Zeus. And some say thigh is not literal thigh, but the genitals. So he tied himself into the genitals and gave birth that way. So again, the phallus connection to Dionysus. But anyway, the proof saying that these stories are not gospel, but it is a proof of a connection that Dionysus, there is a birth, death, and resurrection. And as you saw in the book, a connection to Apollo. So not only can we see Apollo in the world today because of the quote-unquote a plague that is definitely upon the land with this thing going on, but with entertainment in the live theater not being able to exist, it seems like there's a death. But there will be a resurrection. So for those that are suffering, know that there is a resurrection coming, and Dionysus is showing us that things that seem dead will live again. I wanted to give you guys that hope today. Anyway, guys, I'll talk to you later. Bye.